Hey, and welcome back to another reaction video. So today I'm going to be watching a video about LGBTQ books and why a school has decided to ban them. I haven't seen this video before. I'm intrigued to understand what's so bad about these books, but let's dive right in. Really important, especially at the minute in the United States. So let's dive in and take a look.
He's undoing my belt. I'm reaching into his bedside drawer for a condom.
Yep, that's real.
A good handy is all about the wrist action. Rub the head of his back and forth with your hand.
Yeah, that's all in here too.
After a bit, a person's becomes moist and slippery.
And sadly, this is real too, including multiple different sex positions. It should be told, this is getting out of hand. It's time we have a discussion about this because as a gay man myself, I'm tired of no one having an honest conversation about this whole book banning and the LGBTQ thing.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting some educational books about friendships and relationships, not that. So that's alarming. I'm not going to lie. Want to look at some more of the context? Because that is a bit shocking.
Thing that's going on within our school boards, because all I'm hearing is that all the gay people on the left are saying, oh, the right hates gays, they're trying to censor speech, they're trying to ban all these books. When looking into the books myself and applying the context, that's not the full truth. With that being said, in this video we're going to discuss the book banning and we're going to get into all of these books that I went out and bought to see for myself how bad things truly are. Book banning. Over the past couple of years, lawmakers and school boards have been fighting to ban books. And I say ban books because they're not really trying to ban the book from even existing. They just don't want it in the school. If it's at a public library or it's at a bookstore, then that's its own issue. But what I'm looking at and what I'm pertaining to is the fact that some of these books that we're going to go through today are within elementary schools, are within middle schools and high schools, and parents aren't having it.
The number of individual titles challenged spiked more than 1,100%.
I mean, looking at this chart, it's clear that something has shifted since 2020, and I mean, duh, it makes sense. In 2020, we saw so many things come to light. As divided as that year seemed, there were,
I wonder why.
a lot of points that really woke a lot of people up to what the mainstream media is hiding, what they like to project, and also our education system and the things that they're trying to teach our children. We've increasingly seen more of the diversity and people of color and LGBTQ inclusive, not only in our media, but within our schools too, and the parents aren't having it. Not to say that these parents are against black and gays, but they're against the narratives that most of them are pushing, the narratives that I talk about a lot on this channel.
They are not pornography at all. An age-appropriate, well-researched means for kids to understand themselves and their bodies.
The books in question, here and queer. It's not.
Let's pause this. I've not heard any of these books. It's not The Stalk. That's, I'm familiar with that. I'll be interested to see what he thinks of that one. Unisex, I've never heard of that one. It's Perfectly Normal, haven't heard that. Boys on All Blue, love that book. Here and Queer, don't know that. This book is gay, don't know that. So let's see.
The Stork, it's perfectly normal. This book is gay, sex, and all boys aren't blue.
I wish I had these books 40 years ago.
No one from Citizens to...
As you saw, I bought two of the books that they mentioned. And ma'am, they are very sexual. We can go through this, like, bent over, like, I guess nobody's business.
No, hang on a minute. That looked like just someone checking their own body parts out. And it's a sketch, right? I think we all should be aware of our bodies, right?
Like, man, why are you lying?
Yeah, okay, I get that.
Right here. There's no one's being exaggerated. That's the thing that's probably the most frustrating the most, is that you have people saying that, oh, like, you're being dramatic and it's not that bad.
What I would like to see, though, because so far there's some images there that I think, yeah, would I want my 8-year-old and 5-year-old seeing some of those pictures? No, I don't think I would. Particularly the more sexualized images. pictures of people's body parts. Oh my God, I think that should always be age. That there's no appropriate age to not tell their children what these body parts are called and what they look like and what they shouldn't look like, because we want our children to know this. But yeah, there's some questionable images there. I would like to see how many books similar to this exist that don't have the lens of LGBTQ, because there are 6 titles there. How many are there that are not LGBTQ? That would be just as interesting to compare, because it's probably a lot more.
That's why I spent over $100 on these books. It is that bad.
Question is, should we ban books in public schools?
Absolutely 100% no.
No.
No, I don't think anything should be banned.
A few moments later.
Have a foreskin, play with it, slip a finger between it, and a big cleanse. Maybe not.
Apply broad pressure to the outside of the entrance. Circle your funnel. Okay, no, kids maybe should not be reading.
Yeah, and look, I get that, but let's not. I'm a big believer in not shaming people for exploring their bodies. It's something that everybody does. It's something that people are going to do as they're developing. There are some teens that may not have parents or grown-ups that are open with them about their bodies and how they can get pleasure. So their only resource is to turn to books or the internet, or God forbid, a person. So I get it, but we shouldn't be shaming or fearful of explaining what your body is, how it's used, and how to get pleasure from touching it. That's probably quite controversial, but that's my opinion.
I honestly have no idea why there's this much controversy about these books now that I've gone through them myself. And we're going to go through them together. Because as someone who, and I'll talk about this in my coming out story, I relied on these LGBTQ stories and seeing them growing up in middle school and high school. I felt seen, I felt heard, I didn't feel alone. I enjoyed reading the gay story and the gay TV shows and all that, but that wasn't in school.
The book is called...
Okay, when I was growing up, there was none of that, because we had Section 28 in the UK, which banned the promotion of homosexuality. So you would never find a book, or you couldn't even talk about it. But I did remember a magazine that all of the girls at my school were reading and were having delivered and were going to buy. And it was called More. And there was always a sexual position of the week in it. And it was one man, one woman. And every week there was a new position. And the girls would bring it to school and they would be laughing about it, showing everyone. So people were getting access to this sort of stuff. It wasn't LGBTQ material. This was material aimed at cisgendered teens.
Perfectly normal. But to some parents, it's not perfectly normal to let their preteen kids read it without parent approval.
I just think it's not right for young kids.
Wes is a concerned parent who doesn't like what he found in a book about sexual help available for checkout at his daughter's Covington Middle School.
Made by Roddy Harris and Michael Emberley, It's Perfectly Normal is made for ages 10 and up and is meant to discuss puberty and sex. It's sold millions of copies and it has won awards like Best Children's Book and Best Book Overall.
Well, that should tell you something, maybe. So now we're going to rank the books, and I'm going to see the 6 titles that he spoke about at the beginning and just see what his view on them is. It's going to be interesting.
No, if we had This Book is Gay without the adult content, there's a way to turn this book around into something positive. There were some positive sections in this book. It'd be hard to do it, but it can be done. This book, I think, is totally fine. The Nick and Charlie omitting that ending sex scene, I think it's fine. My Shadow's Purple, a chop. No. That genderqueer.
My Shadow's Purple. I'd love to know why. I have other views on certain books in schools. If you've ever followed Ollie Pike, check out his YouTube channel. He goes into schools. He's been to my children's school. We've got all of his books and talks about feelings, sexuality, being visible. My Shadow is Purple is maybe a similar title to what Ollie talks about. I remember being 7, 8 years old and knowing I was different. And I had to wait till I was 23 and marry a woman all in between of that because I just couldn't be seen or talk or speak or find any resources. So I don't agree with it. My Shadow is Purple.
Your chop is perfectly normal. No, the hell it ain't.
And again, yes, I get it. There are some things in there that are very different, but this is an award-winning book bought by parents. So with the appropriate age, I don't know. I'm not even on the fence with this. I think, yes, there has to be an appropriate age to talk about discovering your body and talking about sex. Should it be in schools for people under 10? No, I don't think it should. I get that. Should 10 and upwards be looking at it? I certainly think teenagers, early, 12, 13 should, because bodies are changing, feelings are happening, hormones are racing. I'd much rather my children know about their body and attraction before they experiment for real life to try and understand, because, that book looks at topics like consent and their private parts and why it's important to protect those parts. And I don't know, I guess I disagree to a degree, but we have these types of books in our home, not this one in particular, but certainly telling and talking is really important, especially raising a boy and a girl. It's important that we raise good humans.
It's a chop. There were some good passages in here, but again, when it comes to sex ed, you got to make things very age appropriate. You have to make listen.
But what is age appropriate with sex education? Because we're taught in schools how not to get pregnant, and is that the right thing to do? Should we be teaching children how to get pregnant, how to understand your body? What is your reproductive system? Do you even have eggs or sperm? Take ownership of your body and understand if you've got all the ingredients to make a baby when you're ready. Because what we're seeing is people are having babies later or finding out they don't even have eggs or sperm. And schools aren't teaching about fertility. They're teaching about general your body awareness and what these parts are called. So, yeah, more work to be done on that one.
Hear you. People go through puberty at different ages. I get it, but there's still a general consensus of when things are happening. But this book being just available for a 10-year-old to grab, chop. No, ma'am. I just don't understand why we can't agree to just leave the sexual content out of schools.
Why? When we're seeing, just the other day, I read an article about a 10-year-old girl in America that was raped by someone in her family and had to have an abortion. We need to be telling children about sex education. Let's not be embarrassed or ashamed to be talking about sex, right? We all do it. It's not saying that kids are going to be doing it, but they need to be aware about their body and the consent they need to give for someone to be near their body or their private parts, right? We're enabling children to know right from wrong. That's why it's important, especially in America.
And we'll be fine. There's a perfect middle ground. Leave the sex manual.
As this guy got children, that's what I'm curious about, because I'm thinking about this as a parent. From ensuring that my kids understand this sort of stuff, or the unimaginable.
Was out of schools and we'll be Gucci. We'll be good. Because honestly, now I see why the right is just like, okay, we'll get rid of everything gay in schools, because gay people can't just be honest and real with it. They have to equate everything with being gay as being synonymous with everything sexual and perverted. And I want to step away from that. We're not all like that. We all don't agree with that. But I see why the right is just, okay, we're giving them all the gay books because you got all the gay people defending this kind of stuff. Hence, again, why this content is being made and why it's talking about the things they talk about, because these leftist gays don't speak on my behalf and they don't speak on yours either. Like, that is insane that there's that many gay people trying to defend and want these books in middle schools and high schools. Miss me with it. That's not cute. It's not it. There's no need for it, any of it at all. Until gay people come together in mass and say, yes, actually, let's have a real conversation. This is...
And there's some value there in having a real conversation about some of these titles. I'm not aware of some of them, and some of them, yeah, they were a little bit graphic. But again, like I say, this, I'm sure if we dived into the millions of books in schools that depict similar things of two, a man and a woman. I know I was brought up by heterosexual parents in a heterosexual school talking about heterosexual sex. It didn't make me heterosexual. You know, these books aren't turning people gay. We know that's not the cause or the case. And I'm sure I went through school looking at books about vaginas and penises, and it was funny and, you know, all of that came with it. These books have just applied probably a more modern way to talk about some of these topics, which for some parents are embarrassing. You know, some parents don't even tell their children about sex ed, and they leave it to the schools. And removing some of these titles from schools will mean that not everyone is going to be educated correctly about the broader community, potentially.
Wrong. We don't need this in school. The children don't need to be involved in this, and this, even all for adults. I feel like we'd be in a way better situation because we're seeing the right do that. We're seeing the right step up and say, hey, this isn't even about you being gay. This is about the sexual content in schools. And then you have the leftists talking about it's because you hate the gays. Clearly, he just said he did, and he just wants the sex out of school. So why are you sitting here not being real with it and just saying, oh, he's coming against me and all LGBTQ people? No, this damn LGBTQ XYZ Skittle Squad, Rainbow Mafia, LGHGTV community is too damn big.
There is the issue right there. I was waiting for it. There are a community of people in our LGBTQ plus community. Notice I've referenced everyone there. And we're changing as a community. You know, we are wanting to reference those in the intersex community or asexual, and absolutely supporting trans and non-binary people. And to some LGBTQ plus people, that's just too much. And the fact that a lot of these titles do address trans and non-binary issues, there's an underlying problem there of the way he just mocked the rest of the community.
You got everything under the sun trying to defend everything and say it's one joint party when there's so much infighting and so many things that at some point we've got to find a middle ground. We've got to step up to the plate.
By ignoring people and pretending they don't exist is what I'm guessing. Yep.
And say something. And again, like I've said throughout this video, I'll uphold an argument to be had that these books should be, you know, in a Barnes & Noble or a pub library. That's whatever. Because even in a pub library, there's erotica, there's manga, there's crime, there's all types of books. And as a parent, you should be watching out what your kid is checking out at a public library.
Yes, but if your child is wanting to access these types of titles and they then try and go online and do it, where could they end up then? Who could they be talking to online if they go down a rabbit hole of watching videos or reading articles or, you know?
Or what your kid's buying at the store, but regardless, there's things there. You go to a mall, you can find up in Tennessee, there's a mall where there's a Build-A-Bear.
I'm done. He's done. He's made his point. Some of it I agree with. A lot of it I don't. He's not a parent. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Interesting though. But go and check out Ollie Pike. Go and look at his titles and look at how inclusive they are. You'll really, really love them. So thank you for watching again. Another reaction video. If you've liked that or you want to comment, be kind. Just comment below. Click the like and subscribe button and that notification bell and you'll be getting more content like this. So till next time, I'll see you later. Bye.